This is my Zenit 19. Now, I tried putting some batteries in it, but it didn't work. And I've also tried just cleaning the contacts here. It didn't help, because then they decided they looked pretty clean. So I started removing the base. Now there's two screws, one here, one here. I think it varies depending on the version, but this one has two screws here which I've already removed, and there's one in here in the battery compartment. And that was filled with this black waxy substance, which I've scraped out. I don't know why, that might have been to seal it, but that just unscrews. There. It's the longest screw. And now it's still, the base doesn't lift off yet. Be careful because this is all plastic. But there is a ring here, a locking ring around the tripod mount. Can you see that? Now I could use a spanner wrench, but this is on lightly enough that I can just untwist it. Now I wouldn't want to scratch the plastic either. And now, as you can see, this plastic piece just comes off. And you can see there's quite some tarnishing there, and on here as well. Yeah, everything's a bit corroded. You can see this thing's been stored not very well. The screws are a bit rusty, so I suppose some moisture's gotten in. Doesn't look too bad though. So, what I have is I have some contact cleaner. I give it a shake. Yeah, just follow the directions. I'm just going to spray it onto a tissue. I don't want to spray it right in, because again we're talking about a delicate camera. And now I can give those parts a bit of a wipe, the cleaner, and see if it makes any difference. So I'm going to scrape some of this off too. That might be the faster option. Yeah, so probably best to just scrape it off with a screwdriver first, and then use the contact cleaner just to get the rest. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. And now for this part. This is a lot easier. And here it's probably safe to just spray it on. This should evaporate, leaving no residue, and then just give it a rub to help it. And that's looking a bit cleaner. And lastly, I'll apply it to that little spot as well. And then wipe out the dust a bit. I have some rubbing alcohol that might make it clean up a bit better. And now, I'll just have a look. I don't think there's any other metal contacts here to worry about. So that goes there. Well, that actually, there's a little metal thing here. I think that might be making contact, or at least it's supposed to. I'll just clean that a bit. And maybe that's what that wax was before. Alright, I'll put this back on and we'll give it a little test. Make sure there's some wires here. Be careful not to damage them. When you're putting this casing back on, it just slides on there. Then this ring goes back on. And I'll I'll just put the long screw in for now because I think that one is important for maintaining an electrical connection. So I will clean the underside here. I'll just try and make sure there's no dirt on the underside of this, the head of this screw, because I think this makes an electrical connection with the case there. There we go. And now for the batteries, I've just got some, they're LR44, they're 1.5 volt, they're just basic cheap batteries. Now I'm sure camera collectors will not be very pleased with this, but they work. I use them in the other cameras and I've had no problems yet. And besides, this one doesn't even mind about the voltage. Apparently it has a regulator in it, so there should be no worries. And I just use a washer to make them fit a bit better, so they don't bounce around. Now I'll follow the directions, try and sort of keep the batteries clean of fingerprints. Of course, and slip out. And this goes on top. And now it's got a silly coin thing. There's a reason we don't use coins as screwdrivers, because they make terrible screwdrivers. But I'm not going to bother with a coin, just want to get it tight enough so that I can test it. Now let's see if that makes any difference. I don't see a light coming on. That's what that's supposed to be. So this may not have worked. Yeah. Put the lens back on. Let's see. I did see the meter move. No. I do not think that's working now. Another way to check is, yeah, that's not right. So there is still more. Because yeah, it's the shutter speeds are electronically controlled. So I might have to go through it a bit more. So again, it shouldn't be that quick on a quarter of a second. So there's still more to do. So I'll take that apart. This battery's slipped out. So I suppose this could be the problem. Again, I suppose it's not a perfect solution. But the light doesn't come on. So I have a feeling there's more of an issue here. Try one more time without. Ah, this is interesting. Now the light comes on. So I think these washers are a little too thick for this camera, because it turns out that, even with them bouncing around. So let's see if I can now put the washers in, and we'll see if it works. So that is interesting. So I might not need any of this. So maybe those camera collectors are right in saying use the correct batteries, but it costs a lot more. Well, just goes to show, always try all the little simple things first. But worst case, I'll go find some other washers. Yeah, let's try this. Yep, it doesn't work now. So I think these washers are too thick and they're pushing the battery out away from the socket. Or away from the contacts. So I'll be back with some smaller washers and then hopefully everything should work. So I've gotten some O-ring kits and we'll see if any fit a bit better. Allow us to put these batteries in without problems. That looks about the same. So those are all about the same thickness. So this might be a bit better. It's a bit small. These ones look like a good fit. So again, those are the ones we've used. Now these are nice and thin, so they might fit. What? Those are too small, although I suppose I could try and stretch it more than that feel. Anyway, let's see. Can I put this in here? Yeah, it fits. If I put two, just sort of wedged in on an angle. Then just sort of arching it over. And then put the cover on. And we'll see how this goes. Okay, that's working. Now let's see if the shutter speeds are right. That seemed about right. That's in the wrong. That sounds about right. That's pretty good. Just try it 1 second. That's acting as bulb. How about just 2 seconds? Okay, that's, oh, not 2 seconds, half a second. So 1 second on this camera is acting like a bulb. So let's see what happens at bulb. You know what this seems like? It seems like this dial has shifted by 1. Which, that would be quite a problem, wouldn't it? Yeah, if bulb is acting unfortunately I can't tell by eye what the shutter speed is what. Is this unscrew? Yeah, it's a strange problem. Someone must have removed this at some point. I don't even see a screw in there. That is strange. Oh, does bulb normally turn into Is that a fault? I don't know. I'll have to look that up. Or has someone put this on the wrong way? Let's see. I'll get a stopwatch and we'll see if this is 1 second or half a second. Okay, well, I've got my stopwatch, and now what we're going to do is we're going to time and see whether this is at 1 second or half a second. Let's see. Try again, see if I can. There's a bit of glare. Is that visible there? How about? That's wound. Okay, now at 1 second. That seems to be. No, this is acting as bulb. No? No, it's just the time it takes me to take my finger off the button. Okay, let's see. I think that's a second. Yeah, that's 1 second. So, I think this button has been, let's see if this is half a second then, and if that is so, then I think this this knob has been put on at the one off, which would be a bit of a problem. Yeah, that would cause some interest. Well, no, it shouldn't be a problem if you're using the meter the inbuilt meter. It shouldn't cause any problem because it doesn't know what the knob says. But if you're just setting it, if you're using an external meter, or you wanted a certain shutter speed, yeah, that's not going to be too helpful. So let's see again. This is for half a second. So let's see if I can time this right. Fortunately, this button is a bit of a. It does seem more like half a second than a quarter of a second, but this shutter button is rather rubbery and it's not as nice as some of the older ones. But yeah, that sounds more like half. That seems closer to half a second than a quarter. Now let's try what I suspect is a quarter of a second. Yeah, I think this is the wrong way around. So that would make that 30th. That would make this 60th of a second, which is 250th of a second. And I think the hint is that the bulb just. Well, what would be helpful is, I don't know if it's a slow motion camera or something, you could film it and see if it's exactly the same at 1000 with the batteries in and 1000 with the batteries out. Because with the batteries out, this works at 1,000th of a second. So if it's the same, that means this is correct. But I think this is one off. So let's see. There's a place where I think there'd be a screw in there. Yep, I can see it all the way at the bottom. There's a screw just in the hole there. So I'll need a small tip. Is that small enough? Yep, that's the right one. So I can unscrew the knob and move it over one, and hopefully this is right, because otherwise I'm going to be very confused. There we go. It might not be that someone's moved it, it might just be this has moved, and I just realised I've forgotten what setting this was on. That was stupid. Oh well, I think it was it a 30th? The one way to find out is put it on find bulb again. Oh. It's not gripping very well. I'm surprised I didn't put some sort of notch in for it to line up. Let's see, is this bulb? No. Then this is bulb. Okay, so I've just made 1,000th of a second bulb. So, let's see, what did I set it to? I set it to 60, it shouldn't be 60. And that is now 30, which is actually 60. There we go, let's see. Because it'd be pretty bad if this stopped working out when you're out and about. Suddenly can't control the shutter speeds. Could be, it depends on the situation. It might not be too bad, but imagine if you just turned it into bulb or something and now you're stuck, or something. Well, 30th of a second for a tripod, shot off a tripod, now you can't use it anywhere else. But yeah, that seems alright. Now let's see. That's bulb. That's 1 second. 2, that seems like half a second. Again, if this seems wrong, do tell me, because I'm not very good with time. But that does seem like closer to quarter a second than half. Yeah. So, one more thing to check, the meter. We'll see if it's metering correctly. See if we can get this lens on. Nice lens, because my other Zenit, the lens all froze up, so it's nice to have another one, although this one is a bit stiff, which is getting me worried this is also going to freeze up on me. Should be a shame, because I do like Zenits. Nice cameras. So let's see, wind it on. And yep, the meter is doing something. Let's see, at that point, let's try something normal. Then it goes up, and then it goes, yep, better. Then it goes, don't do that. That's good. So yeah, the meter seems all good, as you can see there. The meter does not like how dim this room is, but here this is better, but that is not. So, yep, that's all right. Yeah, you've just got that little button here, aperture, sort of aperture preview, but also for metering. So, I've got it working, which is all good. Turned out it was, well, it might have been the contacts as well, but it was my rubber washers were just too big and they were causing problems. So yeah, just check the basics first before you start tearing things apart. Unfortunately not the first time I've learned that, but hopefully this will be the last time I have to learn it. Anyway, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. Oh, and one more thing, do remember to put the screws back in. I realised as I stopped filming that I'd just forgotten about the screws entirely, which I don't know, probably not the best thing to have the base of the camera supported by this one ring and one screw that is making the connection that makes everything work. So yes, also remember to put everything back together properly, and don't be like those people who leave all the screws out of things and then you buy stuff and it's all held together by about 3 screws and filled with holes. Yeah, don't do that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Day of forgetting things. I'm also putting that putty stuff back in. I don't know whether it's wax or putty. If they put it in, it probably serves a purpose. And one of the batteries just fell. Anyway, thank you yet again for watching my disorganised mess.